Fappin, fappin, fappin song. Fappin, fappin, fappin song. Fappin song.
That's so brilliant. It's just like the simplest little melody. Like, hold up. That's got to be like a 145. Fappin song.
Fappin, fappin, fappin song. Fappin, fappin. Waka, waka, waka. And boom goes the dynamite. I've been thinking about that like all day.
That's basically, now that I realize, I think that's just basically the song that Gandalf was singing at the beginning of Fellowship of the Ring. The road goes ever on and on, down from the door where it began.
How long I've fapped in. Oh, Toby, the finest weed in the South Farthing. Your love of the halfling's leaf has clearly slowed your mind. What?
What?
No, not at all. No. Have you heard that thrift shop song?
I see it listed like on the top 10 on iTunes, but everything that's listed on the top 10 on iTunes, I purposefully don't listen to.
It's stuck in my head. It's been there for like a month.
I'm sorry. Is that by...
Well, it's by some dude named Macklemore.
Okay, that's what I thought, because that guy's like all over the top 10, and I'm like, who is this person?
He's a white rapper, like Vanilla Ice.
Great.
Yeah.
Because the world needs more of those. There's one thing we could use right now.
I always think of like, because it's like, I'm gonna pop some tags, only got $20 in my pocket. And it's like, it's about going to a thrift shop. And he's like, I'm hunting, looking for something. This is fucking awesome. Yeah. And so I sat there one day, I was just like, I'm gonna pop some tags. I'm gonna HooperCast. Oh, I got the HooperCast in my pocket. I'm hooping, looking for some hooper. This is hooping awesome.
It hurts. Janice.
Oh, Janice, this hurts.
Janice, this hurts.
Janice?
Janice?
I thought you were Janice.
She came over and played Pinnacle with me.
She used to come.
She wants some tapioca?
You want some tapioca?
Who are you?
Oh, good for you. Or is that Christian Bale?
That's Christian Bale. Oh, good for you. Oh, man, they should have a conversation.
That's what I was thinking about. I was thinking of, oh, poor you. Oh, good for you.
Oh, good for you.
Oh, poor you.
Oh, good for you. I still want that as a horn on my car.
Oh, God.
That would be the best ever.
Oh, God.
Think about it. Somebody like cuts you off in traffic. Oh, good for you.
Oh, good for you.
Oh, good for you. You want me to trash your car?
That's the thing. Like, I want to use it like in response to like, my child is an honor student. Oh, good for you.
Good for you. Yeah, you just sit in at PTA meetings just for that one reason.
Well, when my son gets an A-, I'm a little disappointed. Oh, good for you.
Oh, good for you.
I've actually seen those bumper stickers. It's like, my C+ student beat the shit out of your honor student or whatever it was. Like,
yeah.
Or like, I don't know. I want to get a bumper sticker that says, I don't have to plaster my children's accomplishments for everyone to see. I'll just let him speak for himself.
I don't live vicariously through my children.
That's right. Oh, wow.
my child being an honor student means literally nothing to me. That's what I want. Like,
my child is humble about his accomplishments.
Yeah. My child's successes are not my successes.
I don't know what I hate more, those bumper stickers or the Coexist ones.
I hate them all. I hate bumper stickers.
Yeah,
if you need a bumper sticker to tell your opinion, you're an idiot. That's what I have to say.
You're not outspoken enough.
You're an idiot.
I agree with this bumper sticker. I'm gonna buy it and put it on my car.
Yeah, you shouldn't be driving. What's the matter with you? Never mind.
Well, I was gonna say that like that Coexist bumper sticker has like half of the religions or ideologies on them don't have to be told to coexist with others. Like you can take the Jewish star off there and the cross and like just the yin yang symbol. You can leave radical Islam on there and other things people who probably need to hear it, but you don't see Christians. The worst you see, people can't see me, quote unquote Christians doing is picketing funerals, which not a great thing to do, but do you see Christians running around killing anybody in the name of Christ? No, not this week at least.
Not usually. I mean, there's the random, crazy guy, but then like the dude that killed John Lennon or whatever. But
by and large,
but also I think it's worth pointing out that the people who are picketing the funerals are not actually Christians.
They're not. They fly the Christian flag. But
they're a cult, and they're also not Baptist. Let me just throw that out there too. I'm a Baptist. They are not Baptist. They do not conform to the standards of the Baptist convention.
The same way I can sort of distance myself from Mel Gibson. Like I'm a Catholic. Mel Gibson's a Catholic, but he's not. He's like a weird sect of Catholicism that doesn't recognize Vatican II, and I'd rather not go into it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
I wonder if they have debates like these on Krypton. Like, I just think that sometimes. Like, I don't know if you know this. In the comics, the deity on Krypton is named Ral. So I wonder if people are like, oh, I hate Ral. Or if it's just like Utopia and it's like, hey, we all like Ral and we're all good with this.
Hey.
Like...
We can advance so many years now to get stuck on this one issue.
Yeah, that's why they're so advanced.
Well, that's Dustin Weldon. I'm Mr. Hooper. Welcome to HooperCast episode 44, and that was a little philosophy for your ass.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Wipe with it. Do it. Do it.
Do it. God,
do it.
I still haven't watched that. I pulled it up the other day. I was like, I'm going to watch this. And then at the last second, I was like, no, I can't.
You should do it. Everybody out there, go Google Squidward's suicide.
No.
It's scary.
No.
But do it at like 3 a.m. when it's dark and nobody else is around.
No.
That's when it's best.
No. I should tell you my little gun story.
Yes, please do.
I'm driving back to work yesterday. And I'm at like one of those three-way lights, and so I'm on the actual road, and there's another road that's perpendicular to us, and they're waiting to turn left. Okay. So I'm on the phone with Kellen, and at a certain point, I see a guy walking up the stack of cars on the perpendicular road. And I'm like, what's going on? And then he raises his arm up straight and pointing something. I'm like, it appears as if he's holding a pistol. And so I thought, I guess I'm watching someone get carjacked. Like, what, we're all at like a stop, so I assumed the light was changing. So he walks up to their window, and he's like looking at them. It's like two girls in a pickup truck, and he's like pointing the gun right at her head. And I was like, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's holding a gun and not like a stapler or, a candy bar, something happy.
Like Batman with the stapler and Batman Begins.
Maybe that's why I just said stapler. I don't know why I thought stapler, but you're a good cop. One of the few.
One of the few. You're just one man? Now we're two.
Now we're two.
Now we're two.
Now give me your car. But he pointed it at her, and she didn't freak out. I thought for a second I was going to see some like some red all over the inside of her windshield. Like I thought I was about to see a murder. I was like, well, I was on the phone with Kellen, and you can tell if you can't, like, I'm like, so we can't just, what's going on here? Hold on a second, hold on a minute, dude, something's going on. Like, that's what it was like on the phone, and he obviously he's like, what's going on? I said, I think he has a gun. And he's like, what's going on?
Who has a gun? Oh my God.
And so, the girl does not flinch, doesn't look at him, doesn't recognize him. Light turns green. She didn't scuttle. She didn't, like, power away. It's like she didn't even know he was there. And so she just drives away normally. And he doesn't, like, shoot. I watched it, and I was like, is he going to, like, fire? What's he going to do? He doesn't shoot. He just kind of lowers his gun and kind of just, like, indignantly walks back to his own car. So I thought, okay, he's not carjacking her. He has a vehicle. And he gets back in his car and drives, and, like, follows her. But at that point, I was like, well, I'm going to turn somewhere else and head into work. But I thought, did she piss him off? Did she? I don't know what she did. I don't know what these bitches did to make this guy so angry. But it made me think, like, are we really so petty that like, do you take so much offense to what another driver may have done to you that you're going to pull a gun on them? Like, and if you're just going to scare them, like me of all people, I don't like other drivers. I'm one of those people who thinks that I'm the only person on the road who should be allowed to operate a motor vehicle.
Every time I'm on the phone with you, you're talking to people in front of you.
It's awful. Like today, like I said, we were on the phone today. I almost got in like 3 accidents because of dumbasses who shouldn't have passed any test in life, much less the driver's
driving test. Yeah, that's the thing. The driving test is so easy to pass.
Yeah, it should be much harder. It should be much harder. You should have to take it every 5 years. You should just It's one of those things that, like, we're already paying city workers. Like, what are they? They're sitting on their ass the rest of the day. You're getting furloughs. Give them something to do. Pay them full time. Do driver's tests every 5 years. I guarantee you the roads will be safer, more expedient. And another thing. Well, I can't guarantee it, but let's just. I'll say I think so. It gets the HooperCast thumbs up.
Yes.
I will say this also. I'm not the first person to think of this, but why don't we get rid of click it or ticket? And put up signs that say, move your ass.
Yeah.
Move your ass. Move it along. I've said this to you before. I know that any Mobile listener will agree with me. I don't know if it's just Mobile, but I've heard from so many people that it is almost, I feel like it's just Mobile, where no one knows what the hell they are doing behind the wheel of the car. When we were on the phone today, after the whole entrance-exit ramp debacle, where we're driving under... They're making us all into criminals because we are now driving under the minimum speed limit on the interstate because it started raining enough to not enough to change the actual color of the pavement, but enough to where it makes a speck noise on your windshield. And so people hear that speck, they're like, oh God. And they just freeze.
I'm going to die.
They can't do anything. They're useless. They're already useless. But now they're even now it's apparent.
Even more,
because it's changing their behavior. Like, I was taught from the book and from people with brains that you're not supposed to alter your driving to accommodate other drivers.
Right.
Which is, I wish we could put that philosophy everywhere, because that's how it should be. Everyone just does their own thing and we all exist in the same space. But people in Mobile seem to think like, oh, well, they'll just let me in. I'll just speed ahead of all the cars, and I'll try and get in, and then, the right lane's closed. I'll speed across the right lane, and then someone will let me in because they're nice, and I'm nice. We all have good intentions, right? Actually, you stoop. You are speeding up ahead of everybody, and so you don't have good intentions. I do, but now my good intentions are gone because you're being a son of a bitch who's skipping everybody. Yeah. So I'm not going to let you in because everyone else is trying to get somewhere, and you chose the quick and easy path as Vader did. And now you're going to pay for it. So,
like Vader did.
Yeah, you want to lose your hand? For real? Because I'll fucking do it.
I'll cut off all your appendages.
I don't give a damn.
Every single one of them.
I'm ready. He's a little machine now, man.
More machine than man.
I'm sure there's no city who goes, actually, our traffic's pretty decent. I have no complaints.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know about you, but I feel like I'd be very at home in Atlanta. I'd say what you will about them, but 285 is my home because everyone drives aggressively. Everyone is very deliberate. I've got to get off at this exit. I have about 20 seconds to change lanes before I'm blocked out and I have to drive all the way around the city.
Right.
I'm going to get there. I'm going to stay there. I like it. If there's a wreck, that really sucks, but I guarantee you it is not an Atlanta native who gets in that wreck. It's someone from Kentucky or Mobile who gets a fender bender in the center lane and just makes everyone part ways. Like that little tree in the Stampede and the Lion King. That's a fender bender on 285.
Yes.
Ugh. All right, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Enough.
Correct.
I'm set now. Okay, well.
Yep. Moving on.
Well, we have not podcasted in a long while due to stuff. But now here we are.
Yeah.
Now here we are.
Reunited.
It was...
It feels okay.
It compared to the... let's just talk about the elephant in the room. The wedding.
Yep.
That was... we won't talk too long about it because, it's not relevant to the podcast or the listeners, but that was everything I hoped it would be.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, me too. It was way more than I expected. In a good way.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that came together really nicely. The fact that like I can see on Facebook and I see Jack writing jokes on John's wall and John, I love that. I love the integration that happened. Everyone
and see if you ask John, leading up to the wedding, I was like, I gave a prediction, and I said the prediction was it was going to be very much your group of friends hanging out together, and then all the SCAD kids hanging out together, and there wasn't going to be any mingling of it. And dude, I'll be dog if it wasn't 5 minutes into the bachelor party that everybody was just together, like we were all old friends.
Right.
And I was like, well, those words that I just ate every one of those words.
Yeah, I agree. It was fantastic. I loved having all of our beer stocked in the party room at the laser tag and having to walk past all those young children and families with all of our alcohol.
Yeah.
That was fun.
I liked putting a face with voices that I've heard on the podcast.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Everyone who was at the bachelor party has been on the podcast at one point, except for Luke Robinson and my brothers.
Yeah.
But
and so it was nice, for instance, I think Sam was on our Amazing Spider-Man podcast, and so I was able to put a face. Although I think I saw him while we were podcasting.
To put a beard to the face to the voice.
Yes, I put a mustache to the voice, and that was nice. That was fun.
Yeah.
And I got a couple people being like, "I recognize you from the podcast," and I was like, "Oh, a celebrity in Mobile. I should come to Mobile more often.
Wear my white suit.
Let me sign some autographs up in here."
Yeah. Oh man, that's great. So that was a lot of fun. And I sound like oh god, I hate saying this, but it's true. I'm gonna remember that for the rest of my life. That was fantastic.
Yeah. It was excellent.
Anyway, well, because we haven't podcasted in so long, have you seen any movies that of note since we last
I have
broadcasted?
I have. There's probably 3 that I'll talk about real quick. First off, the easy one is Jurassic Park 3D. It's still in theaters. If you have not seen it, go see it. Because, see, I don't like 3D, but I love Jurassic Park, and I said, I have to see this while it's in theaters. I've never seen it on the big screen, and that's a movie that deserves to be seen on the big screen. So I went, and yes, I got a headache from the 3D, because I always do, but it was awesome. And it is the best use of 3D. It is, by far, the best post-converted 3D film I've ever seen. And if they all looked like that, it would be okay. Because it was phenomenal. And just a brilliant use of depth. Okay, so there's that. Also, I rented the movie Hitchcock with Anthony Hopkins. I'll talk about that real quick. Psycho is one of my favorite movies, and this is about the making of Psycho, but in a more accurate sense, it's actually about the life of Hitch during the making of Psycho. So you're not actually going to see a whole lot of the making of, but you get to see where he was in life at that moment, which is actually kind of interesting. I'm not sure how accurate it is to history, but it was. It's an interesting watch, especially if you like Psycho or if you like Hitchcock or just film history in general. It's a good watch. It's fun. It's nothing deep or profound or anything, but it's fun. And so, yeah. The third one is Oblivion, which is still in theaters. Also, it opened last week. Tom Cruise, Morgan Freeman. Here's what I'm going to say about that. If you're a big Tom Cruise fan, go see it. Whatever. But it's not a bad movie, but it's one that you can wait for on Redbox. It's a little derivative of other science fiction films, and you can kind of guess where it's going pretty early, and you're going to be right. It's not super groundbreaking or anything, but it's an interesting watch, but I wouldn't spend $10 on it. And I wouldn't spend... What's a matinee now? Like $9? Yeah, I still wouldn't spend that much on it. Just wait till Redbox and get it super cheap, especially if you're not like a huge Tom Cruise fan or anything. Just wait for it. The only concern is there is some spoiler material in the film, which you won't want to be spoiled on. So if you're interested in the movie, don't look it up. Don't go to IMDb. Don't go to Wikipedia, because it's probably going to spoil it for you. Just play it safe. Stay off of that until you see the film, whether that is in theaters or on Redbox. But yeah, I would wait for Redbox if I were you. It's just probably worth $1.50. So. Yeah.
Nice.
But it is a beautiful film. It's directed by Joe
Kosinski.
Kosinski, yes. Joe Kosinski, who directed Tron Legacy. So, obviously there's some pretty rich visuals in there. It's got a pretty good score. And, it's an interesting movie to watch. But it is not groundbreaking, and it's a little, if you're familiar with science fiction, you're going to guess what's coming. So there you go.
Well, I wanted to ask you, I don't remember if we did, I found an old note to ask you about what you thought of Side by Side. Did we talk about that?
No, we didn't.
On the podcast? What'd you think
you
of that?
You did.
Right,
you talked about it a little bit. Yeah, I watched it. I loved it. I mean, you and I both love that kind of, conversation that's happening, and getting everybody's reaction to it. For those of you who didn't listen to the last podcast, it's simply a documentary with a lot of the top filmmakers talking about how video filmmaking is sort of eclipsing filmmaking now, and the reasons for it and what it means for the industry as a whole. And if you're interested in film at all, go. It's on the instant queue. Go watch it. It's awesome. I thought it was well done. Had a lot of good points that were being made, and it gives it in a weird way. I thought it was going to be biased, like, we should be focusing on film or we should be focusing on video. But it's really one of those movies that, to me, seemed really unbiased. It seemed very much middle of the road. And what it did for me was make me have way more respect for those that use film, because video is so convenient and it's so easy. That the people that use film, that's an art form in and of itself. And so it gave me way more respect for those people. In the end, though, I think the benefits of video outweigh the trouble of film. So I'm probably more on the side of video myself. What about you?
It's weird because I'm all about context, so what works for you works for you. I will say I prefer visually. I would rather see things that have been shot on film, but
I agree there.
But as a crew member, even just if from a technical standpoint, I can't argue with the convenience of video. And here's ultimately I go to video because right now film is still the ultimate high definition. Yeah, that will not always be the case.
No, video will eclipse it at some point.
Film cannot get higher definition. Video can. Right. You can always make screens and pixels and image capture that can capture more within a single pixel of an image, more detail. It will get better. Once that happens, I don't know if film will die, but they're already closing down production houses as it is because it's too expensive to keep them open to process film. Yeah. They'll have people who can do it, but by and large, video is going to eclipse film, I think, and it's because it's too convenient. Right. It's much cheaper. It's much more convenient, and eventually, it's going to look better.
Yeah, and I think when it eclipses it in terms of image quality, I think we are going to see the end of film, but in the way that we saw the end of black and white, which is to say, it will still exist. Yeah, but every now and then. The artist, Schindler's List. I mean, just a few films are going to use it. And I don't think in film, I don't think anything ever dies. I just think it cycles out, and eventually it's going to cycle back in. I don't think there's been a huge resurgence in black and white or anything. But I do think that people are still using it. And, if you go to any art school or any, art house theater, you're going to see something in black and white. It's the hipsters, man. The hipsters keep that stuff alive.
Yeah, they keep it alive because of, it's a throwback. But people like Kevin Smith used it because it was cheaper to not have to, color... It was cheaper because he didn't have to light it as much. Because if it's black and white, then there's enough contrast to where he doesn't have to toy with it, which is pretty smart. I'll say that.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah. But, I think it'll eclipse it. Film will go away, but only as much as black and white did. So.
Speaking of black and white, I still haven't seen Schindler's List.
Really?
Yeah, and the other day...
I think it just came out on Blue. You should check it out.
Yeah, that's what Tara said. She said that they're going to have a Blu-ray release for it soon. And I was like, gift.
Yeah.
Gift.
Give it for me. Yeah.
My birthday's next week, yo. Give me that.
I know, yeah. Give me... yeah, you should see that. It's a good movie. I mean, it's a long movie, and it's certainly not the most fun thing to watch in the world. I own it.
Right?
I own it, but I've never watched it. I watched it once and was like, that was good. I'm going to buy it. And I bought it, but I've never found the moment to watch it.
You don't come home and go, oh, this is a good day to watch Schindler's List.
Yeah. It's not like Serenity, where I'm like, I'm just going to put this in the background. Right. If you put Schindler's List on in the background, you got some problems.
Yeah. It soothes me. If you could fall asleep to the sound of Auschwitz, you might need some counseling or
a lot of counseling. Yeah,
it might not be a great part. You might want to reevaluate your life.
Yeah.
I haven't watched a lot of movies, oddly, in the last since we last podcasted. I've been watching a lot of TV on Netflix. Yeah. What I do, because I have already paid for Netflix and I get the HBO Go, I refresh the page every day and I look at what's going to expire soon, and I make that a priority. When there's nothing on Netflix, I look at HBO Go and I'll stack up a movie. So yesterday I watched the original Friday the 13th. It was cool. I'd like to watch some more of them. They're not. It's not scary. It probably was scary then. It's not scary now. I imagine they'll get scarier as they get more contemporary. But I also hear that they'll just get less well made too.
Yeah.
I am excited to watch Freddy versus Jason. I feel like somehow I'll enjoy that for whatever reason.
Yeah. It's like the Avengers of horror movies.
Yeah. Whereas the first Nightmare on Elm Street to me was scary. It's creepy to me. When Johnny Depp gets sucked into that bed and it spits out all his blood. Spoiler.
You know what they should do?
30 years.
For real. Here's what they should do. like for real, the Avengers of horror movies, and they should have freaking like Freddy and Jason and Hannibal Lecter and like a xenomorph alien and like
a predator.
A predator and like a predator. I've never thought the predators were scary.
Maybe one predator. Well, they're not scary.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Yeah, the thing about the predator is like
they're kind of awesome, but they're not menacing. It's just like, oh shit, you're kind of big.
Yeah,
and you got some lasers. But I feel like without the weapons, I'd have a good chance of fighting you.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the alien, that's scary looking. Like in a fully lit room, I'm gonna be like, dude, that guy's imposing. He's gonna kill me. But like, you put a predator in front of me, and I'm like, you got dreadlocks. What are you gonna do to me? Bob Marley me to death? Like,
I feel like I'm just walking down. I'm in downtown Atlanta, and I'm being mugged.
Yeah, what am I? This is Savannah. I bet you're a white guy underneath that helmet.
Yeah. Exactly.
Where's your flip flops? And your longboard skateboard.
Where's your flip flops in your dispatch CD?
Yeah. What do you still have, a Walkman? iPod Shuffle.
But you want to put them all into like one movie and just have them fight each other?
Yes.
Nice.
And you know who wins?
The Xenomorph?
Yep.
Nice.
No. Samuel L. Jackson comes out of nowhere, wins the whole thing.
Wow. I like it.
There you go. What other shows have you been watching?
I've been watching. Oh, you ready for this? My wife and I, Mrs. Hooper and I have been.
It's not the first time you've said that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You get a lot of enjoyment out of that.
It seems kind of strange. I do like the monosyllabic nature of it. I'm so glad I don't have to say fiance anymore. It just got on my flipping nerves.
I'll tell you this, though. When you just said that, I know I didn't look as happy about that as I should have. It's because I thought that was the title of the show. You said, I've been watching, are you ready for this? My wife and I.
And you're like,
and I was
what?
I'm
this
like,
ABC Family?
I literally went through all of the goofy Brad Garrett.
I was thinking of Brad Garrett.
And I'm like, which one was it? Which canceled attempt at Everybody Loves Raymond glory was it?
You're thinking of Brad Garrett because that whole what show is he on, Till Death or whatever?
He was. Now he's on.
The graphic for that show had 2 wedding rings, as the little thing. I don't know
why. Did it?
That's why my brain went there, because I thought My Wife and I, starring Brad Garrett again.
Yeah.
Hold on, Mr. Ant, to my career.
So the best movie that guy's been in is Ratatouille. That says something. It wasn't The Pacifier with Vin Diesel.
Everybody loves Raymond, indeed. So, Mrs. Hooper and I have been. She's already watched all of the Doctor Who, the current stuff. So I finally got through the first season. Like I said, on Netflix, I'll watch an episode of the 1970s. I have 4 shows I'll watch. I'll line up 6 things. I'll watch one of each. So I'll watch
and then come
1970s Saturday Night Live, and then I watch Doctor Who, and then I watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and then I watch Transformers, and then a movie, and then I'll go back up and cycle it through. That's how I can get through it without having to just pound through hours of the same show. Sure. That's why I stopped watching Buffy for 6 months, because that's just I'm just sick of watching the show. If you balance that with other shows,
is Buffy worth it?
It's kind of tough to. I don't know yet. I'm in season 3, and I don't know. Okay. That might be an indicator that maybe you shouldn't waste your time. I feel
I'm so daunted by how much there is.
There's a lot, and some that's kind of dated. It gets better as it goes, and so maybe next time we podcast, I'll be farther through it, and I can tell you whether or not what I think. I think it's better, but I think just. Don't force feed it. Don't force feed it to yourself, because it'll turn you off if you feel like you have to watch it. Maybe do one a week or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But every bit of the writing is there. Every now and then you'll get kind of a whole too much Whedon, where you're just I can't stand all the snark.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll be I wish. For a second, can we be serious? But then the scenes where everyone will argue with each other. When they're all pissed at each other, are golden. They're so good.
Yeah. Well, that's when Whedon shines, really.
Right. So there's a lot of that. So you'll see things you're familiar with and that you like, I think.
Sure.
But I'll be watching, and the SNL stuff is, the show is, I'm still at the point in the show where it's still kind of finding its voice, but it's getting better.
Sure.
I'm kind of waiting for the late 80s and 90s, because
yeah,
that was what I grew up on, was like Mike Myers and Dana Carvey and stuff, but a lot of people are like, oh, original cast.
Yeah.
Kinda. The funniest thing so far from the original cast is anything with the samurai. There's like John Belushi's he's like samurai deli, and he's just like can I get that cut, please? What? God!
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
it's so
hilarious.
good. The Weekend Update is good. Chevy Chase is good in Weekend Update, but a lot of like the commercials and stuff, they're still a little dry. Yeah. I think once the show enters its second season, they'll have more. But
I'll tell you the truth about SNL for me.
Yeah.
For me, SNL has always been hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
They've, I know people like to hate on it now, and it's because a lot of it's very painfully unfunny. And back then, even the bad sketches were still watchable. But for me, there's always been good sketches, and there's always been awful sketches.
Yeah.
And so I don't think I could ever go through and just watch them, because I just don't think I'd enjoy it. I'd enjoy one or two sketches an episode, and that's just not worth it to me.
I have a lot of downtime on one of my shifts on the weekend, so I have time to just sit there and watch it.
Sure.
That's the only reason I think I'm even taking the time. Because half of it, sometimes, and I have to be doing other stuff. If I'm in a sketch that's boring, I'll Wikipedia, that episode and just read facts about it while that sketch goes. And then when it changes, I'll pay attention again.
Right.
I mean, it is an hour of sketches.
Yeah.
Now, as the show goes along, it gets more sketch-heavy, because in the earlier times, there was much more of a variety show. There was a lot more music and this and that. And then they realized that the featured players were really the center of the show. So they made it more sketch-centric. So it's getting a little easier to watch, but it's one of those things I will only do once. Once I'm all the way through the show, okay, cool, I've seen every episode there is. I can now draw comparisons in my mind, and if I forget it, I forget it. But anyone who saw the original show when it aired has only watched through it once. None of those guys, maybe they went back through Netflix to reminisce, but it's a unique thing when you think about it for someone to have seen all of the SNL episodes who's my age, So it's interesting. Doctor Who it was always pretty good. It's good. And we had this discussion before why I like it and everything, but I've narrowed it down. I've simplified the reason why I like it. Okay. I've realized that I like science fiction. Sometimes science fiction I hate because people take it on to spew an environmental message or some stupid message about stuff, like a soapbox, That's why I'm wary of Elysium, because Matt Damon is involved. He literally repels me that much to where I feel like he's going to use it as a soapbox.
Sure.
Good science fiction is speculative fiction. My favorite form of storytelling, I think. I will go ahead and say. I like, things like Freaks and Geeks and shows that should talk about the past. But science fiction gives you something to look at, usually some action, and it speaks to human nature, and it shows you a possible future based on today. That's why I like Doctor Who, and that's why I like Firefly, because it's many years in the future. Oh, there's China and the United States eclipsed everyone. There's two languages and the whole, all these planets. It's insane.
Yeah.
I like Doctor Who because they'll go 5,000 years in the future, and it's well, here's what happened to Earth. Now this is new Earth, and this is what people look like now, and this is what they sound like. It's really nice when you have people who care about the world they're building, especially in a time traveling show. The continuity has been great so far, and I hear it only gets better. So it's nice that there's people who care about continuity and the quality of the show who are making a time traveling show. And I like speculative fiction. I like people's ideas on where we're going, and it's always open ended. It's here's what happened. That's kind of bad, but there's this too. Not there's no more water because all the Republicans took it. That's just dumb to me. But it's nice so far, and so I think I've gotten season 2 starts the David Tennant Doctor.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see. Like, I was wary of, like, okay, well, when they change his appearance, how's the show going to be impacted? And it's very seamless, and it's very good. I will throw my full support behind Doctor Who, and I'll continue watching it. When she gets home from work, we're gonna watch another one tonight. So
good.
It's become a nice thing for us to do together, and I didn't think I would like it because, as you and I both share our hatred for. It's weird. Since I started watching the show, I haven't heard anything on Facebook from people who watch Doctor Who. But before I started watching, it was Doctor Who, Doctor Who. Oh!
Yeah.
And that made me think, like, I feel like I'll hate this because I feel like I have to drink some Kool-Aid to like the show, but it's not the case.
Right. Yeah, I'm not super against Doctor Who. It just seems like a huge time investment to me, and things that I have to really invest in like that, I have a hard time doing. I was late to the game with Lord of the Rings. The only one that I saw in theaters was Return of the King, because I just put it off. I was like, I hear they're long. I don't want to invest my time in it. And I didn't see Harry Potter until our senior year of college. Like, I was just like, there's too much. I don't want to, like, because I like, okay, here's a story, boom, done. And that's one of the reasons I like comic books, because it's like, or, I don't read a whole lot of comic books now.
Oh, God!
Holy.
Sorry, I blew out a candle and it all went into my face.
Ah, gotcha.
Hold on a second. It is so hot in here. Hold on, let me turn on my air.
Okay.
God. Jesus. Oh my God, it's already on! Well, I guess I'm just going to deal with this.
Yep.
Alright, continue.
But no, I think one of the reasons that I like, like superhero stuff is because it's a character that I already know and like and whatnot, and then boom, here's like a one-off deal. Like if I'm watching like, a Bruce Timm show, it's like boom, here's an episode, okay, the end. But like, when it comes to shows that have like super long and detailed histories, like Lord of the Rings does, or Harry Potter does, it's like that's so much. I don't know that I want to invest that much in it. And usually I'll get into it and then be like, oh yeah, no, I love it, every bit of it. And then I do invest time in it. But for Doctor Who, I know there's a lot to it, and I'm one of those people that I would watch the new ones and then say I've got to go back and watch the old ones, and that's such a huge commitment that I guess I'm just. It turned me off of starting it, and it's also the fervor with which people recommend that I watch it. Yeah, and it's like, oh God, I don't want to be one of you, and so that's how it happens. But speaking of science fiction, it's interesting that you bring that up because I'm 2 episodes in. Oh, go.
Sorry, before you change the subject, let me briefly rebut. I think I have also not watched the original episodes, and I'll go ahead and tell you, you and I are very alike in this sense, and I feel like I can reassure you that I haven't felt a need to go back and watch the originals. I mean, this is the 9th Doctor that starts.
Yeah.
So there are 8 Doctors before him.
Yeah,
and 2 after him so far.
Yeah.
The fact that I don't feel the need to watch the bulk of the original series speaks a lot to how much they either catch you up on in increments, like stuff you need to know. It's within the continuity, but there's like 3 things that you need to know, which is like, I'm the Doctor, I can regenerate if I'm in fatal danger, and which he does it twice, the 10th and 11th Doctor so far, and the Daleks are bad and all the Time Lords are dead, I think. It's like there's like 2 things. It's not like, remember back in this season when I did this, like, and you don't know why. It's they acknowledge that like most people watching, because the show, the 8th Doctor, the show ended with the 7th Doctor in like the 80s or something, and then they did like a few TV movies with one guy as the 8th Doctor, and then like 88 they're like, well, let's just stop. So it's been like 20 years since they did it, and so they realized like most of our reader. I said listeners and readers. Why didn't I say viewers? Twice I was wrong. Yeah, I couldn't have said anything else that was wrong. Like smellers and tasters. But the fact that they were like, well, we need to make it so that it's within the continuity, but not to where people need to go watch, because that's a lot to ask people to do. So they're very good. There is an I've read that the arc in season 2 or series 2 and on is a lot more like uniform. 1 is more of an episode by episode basis. They're all kind of one-offs. You can, it's one of those shows. It's not like Lost where you're like, oh my god, what's going on? It links together, but it's more like How I Met Your Mother almost. It's a weird comparison, but it's episode by episode is fine. You'll want to know what happens next time, maybe, but almost never will you be like, oh, I have to watch the next one. You'll be like, I'm satisfied. That's why I can watch them one at a time and then watch 3 other things and come back to it. I don't feel like I'm required to. It links together. The continuity links together. At the end of the series, there's usually something that links them all. But most of it is just like every episode, unless it's a 2-parter, is them time traveling somewhere else. So that's nice. Anyway.
It is interesting that you bring up science fiction because I'm 2 episodes into Fringe. Have you seen any of Fringe?
I put that on my queue because I caught a couple episodes at work. And just the sheer nature of I don't know what's happening makes me think I'd like to know what's happening.
Right, sure. Well, I'm 2 episodes in, so I can't really give an opinion yet. But I mean, it seems interesting, and I think the show's done now. I think it's finished.
Just finished.
So, I think the hardest thing is going to be if I do start watching this like crazy, that I know if I get caught up in the mystery of it, it would be like watching Lost now. You get caught up in the mystery of it, but you can't go on the internet because they're going to tell you what's happening.
Yeah.
I watched Lost live, so I could go on the internet and speculate, like read speculation.
Yeah.
And not have anything spoiled, and then just be like, hey, I didn't get this. What do you guys think it is? And then people would have like a screen cap and be like, oh, here it is. And I'd be like, oh, sweet. But like on this, because it's all done, if I go and I'm like, oh, hey, what does this little image mean that keeps popping up? Then they're like, oh, it refers to this. And I'm like, oh, well, spoiler alert. You know what I mean? So that's the only downside. But I do think that it's going to be an interesting show, but I'm not sure how long it'll hold my interest. So we'll see. But for right now, it's interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to get around to that at some point. That's somewhere in the 200s on my queue.
Yeah.
It'll be a while. There's weird stuff in front of it, like Rocko's Modern Life and like shows I've already seen and stuff.
Which, by the way, though, the deal that Netflix has with Viacom is going to expire at the end of May, I believe, and they will not be renewing it, except on a like title by title basis. So right now they're signed on with Viacom, and so they're getting Rocko's Modern Life. But at the end of May, if they don't feel like Rocko's is getting enough traffic, they're going to not order it again. There's some stuff that is going to be safe, like SpongeBob.
Yeah.
But, as far as that goes, or Rugrats, or Hey Arnold, or all of that stuff, it may disappear.
Okay, well, you heard that, HooperCast listeners. If you want Rocko's Modern Life to stay, you should watch it.
Watch all of it.
I'm excited to watch Ren and Stimpy myself. Just to hear Billy West talk to himself.
Billy West doing everything.
Yeah.
And being incredibly talented.
I'm really excited to start Futurama, by the way. Which did they just cancel that?
They just canceled it.
It's been going on for a while. I mean, do you think it's time? I mean, I don't know if you keep up with it as it airs.
I believe this is his 8th season.
That's not bad.
It went for a few years on Fox and was canceled. I don't know how many years, but it went for a while on Fox. 3
or 4 or something like that.
I was thinking 5 for some reason, but I'm not. I don't know.
It's probably 1.
Yeah. And so anyway, it went for a while on Fox. Fox canceled it, and so they started making some like direct-to-video movies, and then Comedy Central picked it up, and then I guess it's just kind of been dying a slow death since. And they brought it back, and it was probably, and from what I hear, they brought it back, and it was really good, and because they had something to prove, and then it just kind of stopped being as good. So it probably is time. The show's had 2 tries. That's more than plenty.
It's more than most shows get.
Yeah, most shows don't even get a first chance. Really, It's just kind of like Firefly, that they did not get a chance.
Yeah.
So that sucks. But yeah.
But every time they renew a canceled show, Joss Whedon's like, "What the hell? What am I doing?
Yeah. Why did you cancel me?
Give me a sec. I've got so many ideas. I'm done. I'm gonna go work for Marvel."
Yeah.
And now he's bought he's gonna buy a cruise ship or something. That's not true. I'm just saying he could. He's
gonna buy a Serenity ship and then just fly it to Fox and be like, "I hate you guys," and then kill him.
Speaking of Joss Whedon and space and spaceships, brief thing. Did you read the story about how they want to take people on trips to Mars, but you can't come back? Like, if you're going for good. And I'm like, that just sounds... No thanks.
Yeah.
There are some people who responded to us who were like, I'd love to do it. I'm like, really think this through. Like...
Yeah, you're stuck
How
there.
much food can you pack with you? How much do you think they can give you? Whenever someone suggests, this has never been done before, drink this juice. No one's ever tasted it. I'm like, how about you drink it first, and I'll make sure you don't die. Then perhaps I'll ask you what flavor it is.
Hey, I've been watching Family Guy recently. The newer episodes or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that junk is still funny.
It's weird because it went through that dry spell where everyone was like, "It's not funny anymore," and then
I'll admit that. Yes, you're right. It did.
We would sit down in college though and watch it, and it's like this.
We would.
This still makes me laugh. Like I understand if you think the show's quality has dropped, its overall artistic merit.
Sure.
I guarantee you, Seth MacFarlane. First of all, let's say for a second he only cares about money. Then he doesn't even care if it's funny. But let's pretend that he just wants to entertain people. He doesn't care if you think the show has a good linear story structure. Yeah. He puts a simple arc in there, and he makes you laugh consistently. To me, he's done his job.
Yeah, I agree.
I also put my Instant Queue Adventure Time. I haven't watched it yet, but I hear it gave me an experience.
Here's what I'll say about Adventure Time. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed the short way back when, way before it was a series. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it's just... I've seen bits and pieces of it since it became a show, and that's just too far out there for me, man. That's just not going to be for me. I'm not that adventurous, no pun intended. It's just...
I don't have time for that adventure.
I'm not that adventurous. And I'll just stick to... I don't know. I think my problem is that it just seems so hey, let's make a show for college kids. And that's what that was. Yeah. And it's catering to that demographic. And I hate when things cater to a group of people. And that's what I feel like that's doing. And I would be willing to bet that there are very few 8-year-olds who watch that show. Because they're like, what is happening? I'm dying if they watched it.
Right.
And, I don't know. I'll stick to my Powerpuffs and my Dexter Lab and my Foster's Homes and my Johnny Bravos.
Samurai Jack.
I started watching that recently.
Yeah.
I'm about 4 episodes in. I've never seen it. But they only have the first season on Netflix, so I'm going really slow.
I put all of those in my instant queue recently because it suggested it's all the stuff from Cartoon Network, and I was like, this wasn't here last week.
Yeah,
so I put Cow and Chicken.
Yeah,
Courage the Cowardly Dog. I'm excited.
Yeah, I've been watching a little bit of like I said, I'm 4 episodes into Samurai Jack. I've been watching through some Dexter's Lab and some Powerpuff Girls, and a couple Beware the Batmans. Batman Brave and the Bold. Beware the Batman's coming out soon, and it's gonna suck. I'll tell you that right now. And then, but as far as the Bruce Timm stuff that's on there now, I have that all on DVD, so I don't need to watch it. But yeah, let me tell you about Beware the Batman really quick. They're like, hey, you know what's cool? CG animation. And I'm like, yeah, you know what's not cool? Batman in CG animation. That looks stupid. Oh. And then they're like, hey, you know what else is cool? Let's not have the Joker in it or any of his normal villains. Let's do villains like Professor Pig and the Flamingo.
What?
And I'm like, no, how about we don't do those villains? There's a reason that nobody knows about those villains. It's because they're stupid.
It's the Batman.
Yeah, it's like
half of that was me actually stuttering.
Well, that's poor. I figured because it started way too naturally, and then went on way too long. Exactly. And
I looked up at you like I'm trying to finish. Trust me.
Yeah. But yeah, and then they're like, hey, you know what else is cool? Let's make Alfred X like MI6 agent, and he accompanies Batman on his missions and carries guns. And I'm like, no, how about we don't do that? And then they're like, hey, you know what's not cool? Robin. You know what would be cool? If Batman had a sidekick who was a girl and was a ninja and had katana swords, and her name was Katana. And I'm like, no, how about that's not cool, because that's not his sidekick, because you guys are idiots, and I'm not watching your show. And I said all that to say this, I'm probably going to watch the show. They could just put like, here's some poop, but put like a little Batman logo on it, and I'd be like, I'm going to watch this show.
I'm about 10 minutes away from finishing Wanderlust.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so far, it's just kind of pissed me off.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those where, like, it's not that the movie's bad, it's just the structure I don't like, and it's, you know, sure. Paul Rudd and Jennifer Aniston are married, they both lose their jobs, can't afford their apartment, move, go down to Atlanta to his brothers douchebags, so they go back to this hippie commune they stayed in for, like, a night. And then a bunch of hippie stuff ensues, there's a bunch of, like, weird, stupid jokes that they're not unfunny, it's just, I really don't like hippies, and I really don't like hippie culture.
Yeah.
So I feel like this movie was made just to test me, because it's not that the jokes aren't funny, it's like, hey, like, and especially the whole, like, hey, we share everything here, like, free love, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, it just, that frustrates me, and of course Jennifer Aniston's like, okay, then let's do that. And I'm like, I'm completely on Paul Rudd's side, because he's just like, no. And then later she's like, well, this was your idea. And he's like, why would you listen to me? It's a bad idea. I'm like, why don't you tell her, hey, no, it wasn't. Like, you know, it's one of those where I'm like, it's not that the movie's bad. It's just when half the movie is like a situation that seems good, but just is like, just only uncomfortably not preferable. I don't like that, because I'm like, what am I supposed to be learning? Because I can predict the structure. It's like, hey, they both need to loosen up, but they don't want to loosen up this much. Whoa!
Yeah.
So unless in the next 10 minutes it gets wildly profound and makes sense, then it's just another thing where it's like, oh, there's that chick from Reno 911. Oh, there's Joe Latrulio. Oh, and there is his penis! Over and over again!
Yeah.
Actually, to be fair, it's mostly obscured. You see it, like, the first time you see him. He's like a nudist, so the first time you see him, there's his cock. But after that, it's, like, obscured by various, you know, hilarious things. Not quite to the Austin Powers variety. That's still funnier.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Austin Powers is the king of obscuring, like, genitals with genital-shaped objects.
Yes, that always was the best.
I mean, no one's bad in the movie. It's just one of those where I'm like, I can't unrecommend it to people, because I think Jack was the one who said, I think it was actually pretty good. I think most people will feel the way he does about it, which is it's a perfectly acceptable movie. Just to me, it's all, if you were to make movies about slow drivers but ask me to sympathize with them, I'd be like, you're nuts. You're not getting my vote, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just one of those like, well, but we could all use some loosening up. No, I disagree. I think we've loosened up enough. I think everyone needs to get their shit together and, you know, get back on the workhorse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I agree.
You know, whatever. But
yeah,
it's just a movie. I'm not going to get that upset about it. It's just...
Yeah, sure. That was really high pitched.
I didn't expect it
that.
To be me neither.
No, it just kind of kept going up.
expected more of a pleasing baritone disapproval. Like, when I made that noise, my brain was intending, like, tut tut. I don't accept this. There's an anchor who for the morning news. He has a very pleasing baritone. I'll walk in, I'm like, oh, hey, blah, blah. And he's like, hi, Connor, how's it going? I'm like, it's going good. And he's like, fantastic. What, you got married. That's good. That's very good. How are you hold on, let me drink some water.
You realize what you're doing is just like a toned down George Takei.
I realized that. He was just like, marriage is good. Marriage is very good. I'm glad to hear that. All right, well, I'll see you later. And I'm like, God, you just have a fantastic vocal cords. You're right. It did slip from like, marriage is good. Oh my God. It's me. You thought you were rid of me, but you're not. No. You just picture
Joss Whedon.
Yeah, you're not rid of Joss Whedon. I'm gonna have some weird fever dream one night where all my voices come out and like attack me. Like...
Yeah. It's like
you can't get rid of me. Help us, please. We're stuck in here. Joss Whedon. Help me. Oh my God. I don't know.
It's like Woody's dream in Toy Story 2. Bye, Woody. Yeah. Bye, Hooper. No. You're following.
No. Oh God. I need to do a recording where I have all like the voices like telling me I have to kill myself. Like, do it, Hooper. End it. Just pull the trigger and don't live anymore. Just do it.
Kermit, this is a strange side of you.
Live. Not me. I want to die. No, Optimus,
you should kill yourself.
The humans don't deserve to live. They deserve the right to choose for themselves. Except Hooper. He should die.
He should kill himself. Oh, he's a loser.
I've created so many nightmares for...
Yeah.
Yes. Drink the poison. Oh, my heart. It's dying. I was going to say ricin, but that's too topical.
Yes.
Yeah. Although, you must know, the guy who did the ricin saw it on Breaking Bad goes, doesn't look hard to me.
I could do that.
Do you see the pictures of that guy? He's wearing like a gi, like he just got off of kung fu class.
Yeah, he probably did. God,
douchebag.
You know that guy. You know that guy was watching Breaking Bad and like, all I need is like a piece of paper and a filter and then a microwave. That's all Walter uses.
I'll say this. I mean, he did successfully make the ricin. It's just in the whole delivery department. So, as much as I want to make fun of him for being an amateur scientist / kung fu master / Elvis impersonator, you know, not. I wouldn't want to be on one of his enemies because no one checks my mail for ricin.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude.
So you wanted to, sorry, you were onto something, and then I started with the voice nightmares.
Oh well, no, I was more or less asking you, like I was just gonna say now that we're, we've shared some reviews and we've caught up a little bit. What do you want to do now?
Well, we've been recording for a while. I think we should talk about the Superman trailer, and then we should probably just close it out.
Okay. Did you watch the Superman trailer?
I did. I couldn't resist it. Freaking couldn't do it.
I completely resisted it, and I was like, I'm so proud of myself. And then I went to the movie theater, and I was like, oh, both of these movies are going to show that trailer. and then they showed. I did a double feature, and so Jurassic Park. They showed the original, or not the original, but the first trailer for
the more vague
Man of Steel. Yeah, and I was like, oh, good. And then I was watching Oblivion, and I was like, oh no, DC. Oh no, Legendary. Oh god. Or no, it's like Warner Brothers. Oh no, wait, Legendary. Oh god. Oh no, this is Superman. And I knew at this point because it didn't start with the oh no music. So I was like, oh no.
Who's this supposed to do? Let him drown? Maybe.
Yeah. My son was in the truck, or was in the bus.
He saw what Clark did.
He saw what Clark did.
Uptight parent. Like, he saw what Clark did. Oh, really? Well, guess what? He wouldn't have seen shit because he would have drowned without my son. So why don't you...
Yeah, for real. Pretend it's an island. Yeah. Go to your happy... I don't know what she says. Some trite bullcrap. that you tell your son when he's scared. Like, oh no, the monsters won't get you, even though you know, like, yeah, one day they will.
My poor son. Daddy, I'm scared. Yeah, well, we all are, kid. And I'll take a swig of scotch, like, get in line. We're all scared. You should be scared. I'm surprised you're not more scared. I'm scared to death. Yeah. He'll be like, oh, God!
Oh, no.
Daddy! Daddy! Daddy, no! Daddy!
What are you scared of, son? Death or just dying horribly?
Death or just loneliness. They're the same thing.
I was going to say the monster under my bed. Oh, well, you should be more scared of death.
You should be scared of your mother. Because
she hates you.
Oh, horrible. What was the whole daddy thing? It was some. I think John would remember more than me, but I think it was like
I thought it was the one about the daddy ate my eyes. Or
so
something.
Scary.
Moving on to more happy thoughts. So the Superman trailer, all about hope and happiness.
Can you imagine opening up the spaceship and there's Kal-El like, what happened? Daddy ate my eyes!
It just cuts to like Jor-El, like with one on a spoon, nom.
He's got a toothpick through it like it's an olive and a martini.
Yeah.
Like, these are good. I can taste the heat vision. We're gonna die soon. Our son can't see.
But yeah, man, no, the Superman trailer was pretty exciting. As a fan, even as a non-fan, like the trailer's got like 20 million views on YouTube. Like, I think people are excited about the movie, and I think that's good. Because here's the thing, I'm a fan. I've wanted a good Superman movie for a while. Superman 1 and 2, way back in the 70s. Well, I think 2 came out in the 80s, but whatever. And they were really good films, and they kind of captured what Superman was at that time. Superman's different now. He has to be different now. Superman Returns didn't do that, so I'm psyched because I saw more of what I wanted in this trailer than I did the entirety of Superman Returns. So for that reason, like I feel like it's safe to finally get my hopes up a little bit. Although I know that's a dangerous game, but whatever. And so they're my hopes. I can do whatever I want with them. And but yeah, dude, no, I'm excited for it. I think I've long said this. It has a great cast, and yeah, I'm excited for it. I will say this: I didn't expect at the end to have an explanation in the trailer for what the S on his chest is.
Yeah, real.
Interesting. But I will say this: that explanation that he gives is what I've always thought that he should. Like, that's the explanation that I've always thought should be there. A lot of writers have tried to like give a reason for the suit or for the S, and like, oh, it's a flag, or I think in Superman Birthright it was like a flag on Krypton that they sent with them, and Martha Kent made that into the suit, and so the flag had the S on it or whatever. And so that's what was on his chest. And so, but that never really made much sense to me. I felt like it made more sense, especially if you're trying to tell me, like, Superman gets in a fight and the suit doesn't rip up and whatnot, or burn up or whatever. So I think it makes more sense that it's a Kryptonian suit. And I've always thought that the S, I like the S that we have, that logo that's on everybody's car and everything. Like, that's cool. But I've always felt like in a movie it should be like a little more alien looking.
Yeah.
Like it's still recognizable as an S, but more alien looking, so that it could be explained as it's not an S, it's just a symbol from Krypton.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I've always thought that's sort of how it should be explained. So I was excited for that, and I think the trailer raises some good questions. It piques my interest on a couple different points of what we know about the Superman lore. And so I'm excited to see kind of how everything plays out. I know they've changed a little bit about the origin, but I'm excited to see how it plays out, because I'm not one of those Superman fans that's like, oh, it has to be exactly the way it was in 1938, because it doesn't make sense. The world's 75 years older now. It has to be different, and as long as you keep the basic core of the character the same, you can do whatever. And so I'm excited for it. What did you think?
It lends more to what the movie offers in terms of character. I like I love the Russell Crowe voiceover. I like, you will give the people an ideal, like in time they'll join you in the sun. I got huge goosebumps. I was just like, God, that's a great line of dialogue. I like seeing the glimpse of Michael Shannon that we get. Yeah.
I'm glad it's just a glimpse too.
Yeah, full blown crazy. Just like I hoped, and I'm excited. I was just excited to see like a brief glimpse, again, not too much, but of the action. Yeah. And I'm like, this is what I wanted. So I feel like before I was sold, I didn't have to see the trailer, but now I'm like, okay, now I don't want to see anything else, because after this point, I feel like there's going to be too much. Yeah.
For me, there were two things going into this movie that I want. And obviously, all I'm judging is the trailer right now. But there are two things that I want from the movie. One is good character, because I've always felt like Superman has such a great character. There's so many people out there that are like, oh, Superman is boring and he doesn't have a good character. But if you stop and ask them, like, have you ever read Superman? Do you understand the character? Because most of them don't. They just say he's got a million powers, so he has no problems. Right. But it's not about the powers. To me, to me, Superman is the ideal hero. He's the one that we should aspire to be. Yeah. And I'm glad that that's sort of the way that they're going with this. I think the character has a lot to offer, and so that's what I wanted: character and action. Because we've never had a Superman movie that's really action-packed. There was a good amount of fighting in Superman 2, but again, it was on 1980s kind of standards of action. So by today, viewing it with today's eyes, it's a little simplistic maybe. But like, oh, Superman and Zod standing on opposite sides of the street and just blowing at each other with super breath. Well, that's kind of boring. Sorry, Richard Lester. And so, anyway, but the point is, I want some action. I think that's what a Superman movie needs, and that's what people want. And that's why the trailer is getting as many hits as it is. Yeah. I love what I've seen of Zack Snyder's direction and the visuals of the film. But that's not what's drawing people in. What's drawing people in is the action, the surprising amount of character depth just in the trailer. And I'm going to go ahead and say, and I know it's dangerous to go ahead and say this, especially since we haven't really seen much of it, but I think that Henry Cavill has a charm as Superman that I think people are really going to enjoy. And, obviously his accent could be terrible, and, he could be terrible. I don't know.
God knows I'll be listening.
Yeah, for real. But having said that, I'd rather have a Superman who looks like Superman and who like carries himself like Superman and who is imposing and intimidating and has the right amount of character than someone like Brandon Routh, who is American. But that's all he has going for him, And don't get me wrong, I do like Brandon Routh, but he's not imposing like Henry Cavill is, and so that's sort of what I'm looking for.
You can even argue like Superman is one of the few characters where if the accent broke a little bit, I wouldn't be that upset, because he, after all, is not American. He's an alien. Like sure. Like it's a stupid like little technicality, but I literally would excuse it, because why did he sound American? Well, he's from another planet. He sounds American enough, doesn't he?
Right. Plus, it seems like this version of Superman's kind of traveled the world a little bit. Yeah. So it is possible that he's picked up different, dialects that have kind of crept into his way of speaking.
Right.
So you can argue it, one way or the other. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but
I will say though, if he grew up on a farm in Kansas, then I sort of do expect him to have an American accent. But I'm not going to get fixated on that as I would with any other character who's human. Sam Worthington. Yeah. I'm a Marine. I'm a United States Marine. Really? Because you sound...
Yeah, no, you're not.
You're not.
Let me just say this about Sam Worthington. If I read tomorrow Sam Worthington dead, I would probably just be like, eh.
Oh my god, so callous.
I meant career dead, not dead.
I would say
actually both. Sam Worthington goes mute. Hey, now he'll be a good actor.
Yeah, now some subtlety.
Yeah. Or freaking Sam Worthington recast for Avatar 2. Yes. Thank you, James Cameron.
Replaced by Hayden Christiansen. Oh, well.
Oh, James. How could you?
He said he'd do it for $10. That's not what James Cameron sounds like.
No, it's not. But, hey, Hayden, do you think you could do this role? I will try.
Oh, it's funny.
I just imagine, Hayden Christiansen talking in Star Wars lines for the rest of his life.
I think that's all he has.
Yeah.
Macklemore, I hear you're doing another movie. I'd like to be in it. I don't know, Hayden. I don't think that's a good idea. You underestimate my power. You know something? My dad worked for General Motors for 20 years. He's not fair. He never listens. My dad listens a lot. My dad. Let me tell you about my dad. My dad's the greatest dad who ever dadded. Dad.
Speaking of Star Wars.
Are you my dad? Sorry, Dustin.
Okay. So you got Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Did you hear Disney's announcement? One Star Wars movie every year starting in 2015 for the foreseeable future.
Oh my god. No.
Every year. Wow. Good God.
Wow.
Okay, and then if you link Star Wars to Natalie Portman to Thor, did you see the new Thor trailer?
I did.
Yes. What did you say? What did you...
I
said say and think at the same time. So I said, what did you think? But I meant think.
I'm totally in sync with it, dude. I liked it. It's weird because you don't get... It's weird because in trailers you hardly get more than 2 seconds for one shot. You hardly get 1 second. So there's one where he shows up. He hits something with his hammer. And then he stands up and zooms in on him, and there's an explosion in the sky behind him and a couple other things. I just appreciate things like that because it's a lot going on. Just take a second to pause. Mm-hmm. They clearly worked on this shot first for the trailer, it's. I know that the directors came from Game of Thrones, so it stays in keeping with people who understand antiquated language, old English. I think that's important to whoever directs the movie. I don't know what that says about action. Not that any. I mean, it's weird because you can't take a director who's never done action and say they can't do action because that's how people don't get jobs because of guys who think like that. So I haven't been updated on Game of Thrones. I don't know what kind of action goes on there. I hear there's dragons maybe, but I mean, there's no Norse gods and jumping between dimensions and stuff. However, doesn't mean he can't do it.
Sure.
So I am overall excited. I think Loki looks like that guy from the Breakfast Club. The fingerless gloves.
Yes.
Well, you should know that I'll kill you if you try to don't help me, stuff. And Loki's like, does Barry Manilow know you raid his wardrobe?
Yes.
Or he's gonna run through Asgard and rip down all the posters from the school hallways.
Yep.
I'm done referencing the movie.
Well, here's what I was gonna say about Loki, though. While we're talking about Loki,
yeah.
Loki is a character that I for whatever reason, I love Loki, and I think that he should be in every Thor movie, not necessarily as the villain, but he should be there. Yeah. And so I think it's cool because it kind of sets up like a new interaction between him and Thor. Yeah. As opposed to just villainous or jealous. It's just kind of like, oh, hey, now we're trying to help each other, kind of. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, yeah, I think that's cool. I think the trailer looked pretty cool. It had a cool like visual style to it. And yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm one of those people, and I'm going to get so much hate mail for this, but I'm one of those people that I think Thor was the best of Phase 1. I mean, not including the Avengers. Right. I kind of say, okay, Phase 1 and then Avengers, and then Phase 2, Avengers 2, like they're separate entities. But from Phase 1, I like Thor the best. Probably because it's the shortest, and it's the most fun, like, as far as, like, just, let's just, watch stuff. See, I did like Captain America a lot, but the problem with Captain America, upon repeat viewings, is that it takes so long to get into Captain America stuff. And then at the end, it's like, yeah, there's no reason for you to put this plane down, like, with you in it. Right. Oh, wait, Avengers. And so that's like, I got to take points off of it for that. And Iron Man 2 was basically just pooping. And then Iron Man 1 just had some structure problems and whatnot.
Was the eating. Iron Man 1 was eating, Iron Man 2 was pooping. Hopefully Iron Man 3 will be like just the water, the cup of water after
more
pooping.
Eating. Yeah. Or dessert.
Yeah, dessert.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Perhaps a cocktail.
Yes. Which, by the way, that comes out in like a week, bro.
I know. I'm probably going to try and see it on Friday at some point. I might even have to go in the freaking evening. Not looking forward to that, but it's going to happen sometime. So
we'll review that whenever.
Yeah.
Whenever, and I'll probably see it opening day. So probably, if not, I'll see it the next day. And so yeah, dude.
I guess we'll go ahead and sign off. This is a little longer than I think we both thought it would be, but
catching
up to do. Catching up. Yeah. So anyway, well, stay tuned for episode 45, which will probably be about Iron Man 3.
Yep.
And keep posting comments. And keep posting comments on the Final Destination episode, you sons of bitches, because I love it. Keep it coming. Yeah. I told you
it's a lost of time.
Yeah, a lost of time. Why don't you go read a book instead of spending an hour listening to me talk about a movie that clearly you feel too strongly about
and is super old. Why are you still watching this?
And the notion that I'm an asshole for wasting his time, oh, I'm sorry, you're right, I force-fed you this episode,
Yeah, exactly. I made you sit in front of your computer and listen to it.
Yeah, exactly, so whatever, guys, just...
Lost of time.
Sam texted me and said, I'm so confused, so is he mad that we spoiled it, or is he just mad that we think it's an absurd movie? And I said, I think he's just mad because he is.
Yeah,
because let's put that guy in Africa and for a week among people who are going to cut his hands off. Let's put him there. Let's see how mad he is about trivial things. Oh, yeah, I'm mad about the movie. No, I just kind of want to stay alive.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, last week I had a peanut allergy. Now I'll eat anything because I need to stay alive.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you need to do with people who complain too much. This should be like a 3-strike basis. You complain. Okay, you'll get reprimanded. 2, seriously, stop it. 3, you're going to Africa for an attitude adjustment. Come back and just be grateful for the ground you walk on and democracy and pizza and having internet to begin with.
And especially pizza.
God. Anyway.
I love pizza.
Well, that's all I got to offer.
Okay.
All right, well, I'll see you next time, Dustin.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Bye, Hooper. Keep hooping.
Night.
Stay hooping.
I'll hoop all over the place.
Oh, I don't know what that means.
I'm not sure either. I think it's all of them at once. You know what I'm talking about. All of them.
It's all of them. Every single one of them.
That's right.
It's like a sprinkler.
It's like ha ha ha. And then shoot.
Dude, you'd be so dehydrated.
I just fall down like
Dead.
Oh, God. All right, anyway, goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. You have no idea the visual representations you just missed.
Oh,